Graduands, guests and colleagues, my name is Susie Braithwaite and I'm delighted to welcome you to graduation. I have a few announcements to make before we begin so that you can relax and enjoy the ceremony. Graduands, an easy job to start with. Please check that your seat number matches the number on your ticket because you will be called to the stage in this order. If you discover that they don't match, our team of stewards can help you locate the right seat. At the appropriate time, you will be invited to stand and to make your way to the foot of the stairs, ready to head up the stairs and across the stage. All very, very straightforward. But there are two things that make for a seamless ceremony. Firstly, as soon as the person ahead of you begins to cross the stage, please make sure that you make your way to the top of the stairs. Please don't wait till they've passed across the stage before you reach the top. Secondly, don't let excitement and pride overwhelm you so much that you forget to pick up your degree parchment after you've crossed the stage. If you do, don't worry, you have still graduated. But please don't try to go back because you'll collide with someone coming the other way. Instead, please visit the Graduate Information Desk in the Exhibition Centre where you collected your gowns and tickets 30 minutes after the ceremony where you can collect your parchment. At the end of the ceremony, graduates are asked to process out from the hall directed by the stewards. Family and friends, the stewards will show you to the exits once the graduates have left the hall. If the fire alarm should sound at any point, please remain in your seats. Instructions will be given and you'll be directed to the nearest exit. As graduates, we welcome you to our international community of over 119,000 York alumni. The York Alumni Association organises many events, networks and services designed to help you make connections with other graduates around the world and boost your career prospects. So please visit the Alumni Association stand and photo booth in the Exhibition Centre where you can pick up your graduation gift as a welcome to the Alumni Association. In November, you will receive an email about a national survey, the destinations of leavers from higher education. The survey focuses on a specific date in January. So when you know what you'll be doing on that date, whether it's work or further studies, please do let us know. The results will help us provide the right support for current students and make sure that we offer graduates like you relevant information and opportunities. Finally, please turn off your mobile phones and will you all now please stand.
Ladies and gentlemen, good morning and welcome to the University of York. I declare open this congregation for the conferment of awards. Please be seated. A few words by way of introduction to this morning's celebrations. We will open with the conferment of 2 honorary degrees. These are degrees that are awarded exceptionally in the life of a university. They're awarded to people of outstanding distinction. They're awarded because we want to reflect upon their achievements, and they're awarded also as an example to the rest of us of what can be done with human ingenuity and scientific leadership. We will follow that with the award of 2 Vice-Chancellors' Teaching Excellence Awards, and then the general congregation will commence. So please, I'm going to invite the presenters to lead us through the presentations. Thank you.
Chancellor, it is a great pleasure and privilege to introduce our honorary graduand, Professor A.R. Ravi Shankara. Ravi is a true world leader in atmospheric chemistry and has made vast contributions to a staggering number of different elements of our field. Whilst many of us choose to specialise in either laboratory or field science, or work on gases or aerosols, or at least focus on either the lower or upper atmosphere, Ravi has led at the frontiers of atmospheric science on all of these fronts. His group is synonymous with high-quality kinetic studies of critically important gas phase reactions in the troposphere, which is the lower atmosphere. Ravi has also transformed our understanding of heterogeneous atmospheric chemistry, where gases react in or on aerosol particles in the atmosphere. And here his measurements and theoretical insights have been crucial to our understanding of polar stratospheric ozone chemistry occurring on ice. Such reactions dramatically enhance the ozone depletion, which occurs as a consequence of increased levels of synthetic chlorofluorocarbons, CFCs, and other halogenated ozone-depleting substances in the stratosphere. He has also led stratospheric ozone research by studying the loss processes of key gases, including hydrofluorocarbons, or HCFCs, and hydrofluorocarbons, HFCs, that are commercial replacements for the CFCs, as well as focusing attention on nitrous oxide, or N2O, the single most important ozone-depleting emission. So Ravi's made very significant scientific as well as leadership contributions to informing policy decisions for stratospheric ozone protection, which occur through the United Nations Montreal Protocol and its amendments. Protection of the stratospheric ozone layer is vital in order to prevent an increase in harmful UV light reaching the Earth's surface. And a recent report estimates that the protection of the ozone layer under this highly successful international treaty has and will prevent the hundreds of millions of cases of skin cancer and cataracts. So not content with these pioneering measurements in the laboratory, some years ago Ravi decided to bring his innovative approach to fieldwork and successfully developed a technique, cavity ring-down spectroscopy, to actually accurately measure the atmospheric abundances of different gases relevant to nighttime chemistry in the troposphere. So this is just a really short summary of the very large body of Ravi's work, but I hope it's clear how important and influential his work has been, particularly in formulating insights into the fundamental processes which govern the chemistry of the atmosphere. Ravi's ability to cross disciplinary borders apparently seamlessly is striking, as is the imagination he brings to his research. What makes Ravi such an inspirational scientist, however, is not just his research, but his outstanding service to the community, both through leadership of a large variety of bodies, but also as a valued mentor, a collaborator, and a friend to a vast number of scientists across the globe. Ravi brings such a distinctive blend of creativity, wit, and insight that you really want him on your team, no matter what the problem. I've seen it firsthand numerous times, his calm leadership skills and ability to focus a group of people into the most important issues for discussion, which might not be the ones that they thought they were. So he brings his character as numerous leadership roles, past and present. For example, on the NASA JPL Chemical Kinetics and Photochemical Data Evaluation Panel, this is really the foundation on which atmospheric chemistry is built, on which he served for 25 years. On the National Academy of Sciences Committee on America's Climate Choices, as co-chair of the Scientific Assessment Meeting of the Montreal Protocol, as co-chair of the Stratospheric Tropospheric Processes and their role in chemistry, and is a member of the Scientific Advisory Panel of the Climate Clean Air Coalition of UNEP, the United Nations Environment Programme. Until recently, Ravi was Director of the Chemical Sciences Division of the National Oceanic and Atmospheric Administration, or NOAA, laboratory in Boulder, Colorado. And he managed to do this whilst maintaining his very active role in a number of research activities. He is now a professor in the departments of Chemistry and Atmospheric Science at Colorado State University in Boulder. Over the years, his research and scientific leadership has been recognized by many awards and honors. Ravi was elected to the US National Academy of Sciences in 2000, has received the Polanyi Medal and the Centenary Prize of the Royal Society of Chemistry, the Stratospheric Ozone Protection Award of the US Environmental Protection Agency, the Presidential Rank Award, and American Chemical Society's Award for Creative Advances in Environmental Science, amongst many, many others. I first met Ravi as a PhD student when my PhD supervisor and I visited his lab in Boulder more than 20 years ago. Then as now, I was struck by how he took the time to speak to everyone, and I think that's also clear today, from students to professors, about their science and his genuine passion for and intense curiosity about his science and atmospheric chemistry. You can really learn a lot from talking to Ravi. He's also been a great friend and supporter of the Atmospheric Chemistry Group here at York. We were honoured that he opened our Wolfson Atmospheric Chemistry Laboratory in 2013, and very recently to having co-chair a Faraday discussion meeting on atmospheric chemistry, which we held at the National STEM Learning Centre. Chancellor, for his immense contribution to our understanding of fundamental atmospheric chemistry, for his years of dedication to the service of the atmospheric science community, and for his significant impact on ozone and climate policy, I'm honoured to present A.R. Ravi Shankara for the degree of Doctor of the University, honoris causa.
Chancellor, faculty, graduates, and most importantly, your parents. First, I'm extremely grateful to the University of York for this recognition. I'm humbled by such a major honor, thankful to all of those who are responsible. I suspect Professor Carpenter had something to do with this. Also, I'm sure that my late Indian parents who were born in the British Raj would be really happy to know I finally got a degree from a proper British university, rather than from one of those New World institutions. I congratulate each of you. Be proud of what you have accomplished. This really is a major milestone. Remember this when you get older. And your careers have just begun. But remember that learning never ends. And hopefully you'll be students all your life, learning new things in your future. There's so much to learn and so little time to do it. You're all scientists. So let me ask you, why do we do the science we do? There are many reasons, probably as varied as the number of people in this room. But in general, the humans have pursued science for two reasons. One is curiosity, which you usually call kind of basic science, and for application of that science towards a certain goal, which is called applied science. This linear thinking that basic science leads to applied science, which then yields applications, has been ingrained in us since roughly the Second World War. I wish to suggest there is another important paradigm that one might want to follow, what's called use-inspired research, or use-inspired science. This is more than merely application of known science to meet a goal. This means it's pursuing a goal. We must, in process of pursuing a goal, we have to create new science in order to achieve it. This new science may then result in new goals, which then leads to even newer science. Now you kind of get the idea. Think about it. So much of what we take for granted, the fundamental science, came about because people were actually trying to solve a new problem. For example, ancient mathematicians were trying to divide a piece of land equitably and came up with geometry and measuring heights using trigonometry. Archimedes was trying to check the purity of a crown, came up with a bunch of stuff. Louis Pasteur just wanted a nice glass of milk. I'm just making it up. We actually, for Pasteur, use-inspired science was the ultimate goal. Having a purpose in research, but in doing so, creating new science along the way. I urge all of you to hold true the paradigm of use-inspired science in your work. We don't need any reminder that science is a wonderful endeavor, but I also wish to remind you that science is a human endeavor. So take care not to take humanity out of your science, whatever you pursue. Remember, our ultimate reason for doing science is for humanity. Always, we should be aiming to make the world a better place. With that, I wish you all the best in your pursuit of whatever lies ahead, and I wish each and every one of you a truly wonderful adventure in your scientific careers. Thank you very much.
Chancellor, it is an honour and a privilege to present Professor Jim Al-Khalili for the degree of Doctor of the University. Jim will be known to many in this audience as author, television presenter, radio broadcaster and public lecturer in science. Jim was born in Baghdad and spent the first 16 years of his life there before moving to England with his parents in 1979 to live in Portsmouth, where his mother and father had first met. I recall him once saying that one of the things that sparked his interest in science was nights lying in the open on the rooftop in their house in Baghdad, looking up at the splendour of the stars in the night sky. Jim studied physics and then did a PhD in nuclear physics at the University of Surrey. Then, following a spell as a postdoctoral researcher at University College London, he won a highly competitive 5-year fellowship which enabled him to advance his research in nuclear physics. In 1999, he was appointed as a lecturer in the physics department at the University of Surrey, where he has taught and researched since. He was elected as a Fellow of the Institute of Physics in 2000 and to the Council of the British Association for the Advancement of Science in 2003. As Jim's career in nuclear physics was blossoming in the 1990s, he began to take an increasing interest in public engagement, giving many public outreach talks and co-authoring Nucleus, A Trip into the Heart of Matter, which was probably the first book that attempted to bring nuclear physics to a lay audience. I recall Jim saying at this time that he was getting much advice from his senior academic colleagues to stop putting so much time into these outreach activities as it would damage his academic career. The clear message was to stick to hardcore academic papers. It is to Jim's credit that he resisted this strong steer and followed his belief that his love of science was something that it was important to share more widely. The rest is history. There is perhaps a lesson in this for those of you who are today starting in the next stage of your life. If you believe strongly in something and you want to make that your path in life, then you should not let past custom and expectation get in your way. Jim's publishing and broadcasting successes have blossomed since those initial days as one of the pioneers of taking science to the public. He has since published 8 books, bringing different aspects of science to the lay audience, and now translated into 26 languages. He has produced over a dozen television documentaries and presents the highly successful radio programme, The Live Scientific. In addition, he has given innumerable public lectures, ranging from high-profile events at the British Association to talks for small local groups. His outstanding contributions to public engagement were recognised by his appointment as Professor in Public Engagement at the University of Surrey, by the award of the Royal Society Michael Faraday Prize and the Stephen Hawking Medal, and by the award of an OBE in the 2008 Queen's Birthday Honours. Perhaps Jim's most important contribution to public understanding of science is his wonderful programme, The Life Scientific, broadcast on Radio 4, on which he interviews leading scientists. The format is loosely based on that of Desert Island Discs, a programme in which Jim himself has been interviewed. The Life Scientific allows Jim to bring to the public attention the incredible achievements of many scientists who have delivered so much to benefit society, while at the same time revealing in a very human way their lives and personal interests. Jim's hugely successful work as broadcaster and writer is what most people recognise him for, but others of us are aware of another side to Jim, his highly successful academic career as a theoretical nuclear physicist. This is a field that requires a deep understanding of quantum mechanics, that strange theory that governs the behaviour of the microscopic world. Jim's success owes much to the rigorous mathematical training of his earlier schooling, for it is through the language of mathematics that Jim seeks to explain the structure and behaviour of nuclei. Jim, as I noted, is a theorist. Indeed, he was once heard to say, "I can't trust myself in a laboratory, they're too dangerous." However, he has always sought to work in collaboration with experimentalists to ensure that his theoretical work is grounded in reality. I have personal experience of that from a period some years ago when we worked together on a number of topics. The close working of theorists and experimentalists proved scientifically to be extremely fertile and was hugely enjoyable. But it is not just in research that Jim has succeeded as an academic. He is a committed teacher whose lectures have inspired generations of students, and despite his hectic public outreach programme, he continues to lecture undergraduate courses. His current final year course covers such topics as complex contour integral methods, calculus of variation, Lagrangian mechanics, and integral transforms. Topics that I'm sure those of us in our graduating physics class are already regretting having to leave behind. One of the results of being well known to the public is your digital presence. Jim's Twitter statistics are awesome, showing 13,500 tweets to date, which are read by over 100,000 followers. So I encourage you to sign up later today. However, there are other nuggets to be found online, and I recommend a search on YouTube for Jim Al-Khalili's Moonwalk. This was filmed after a Life Scientific recording with the scientist Neil deGrasse Tyson, where the pair emulate Michael Jackson's dance moves. It is well worth a look. Or you could perhaps encourage Jim to demonstrate this on his way to the podium. Chancellor, for his commitment to the public understanding of science and for his contributions to the field of nuclear physics, it is my great pleasure to present Jim Al-Khalili for the degree of Doctor of the University, honoris causa.
Thank you very much, Brian. I'm not going to moonwalk. Chancellor, pardon? I'm still not going to moonwalk. Chancellor, fellow academics, fellow graduands, mums, dads, families, friends, hangers-on, ladies and gentlemen, hello. I feel absolutely immensely proud to be receiving this honour from the University of York. My first visit here was back in 1981 when I applied to study undergraduate physics. It was one of my 5 choices on what was then called the UCA, not UCAS form. In the end, I chose the University of Surrey, mainly so that I could be closer to my then girlfriend Julie, and since we're together since then, we've been married over 30 years, I guess that was the right decision, not to move too far away. I later spent 2 weeks here on York campus in 1987 when, as a PhD student, I attended a nuclear physics summer school. I still remember being chased up the hill by the geese. I bought a kebab down at the bottom of the hill. And you know you don't show the geese that you've got any tidbits. I learnt that the hard way. They scared the hell out of me. During my academic career, I've had many occasions to visit the university, the physics department in particular, and can claim a decent number of the staff there as long-standing colleagues, collaborators and friends. In many ways, the University of York and the University of Surrey, where I still work, are similar. Both are research-intensive institutions. Both were founded in the 1960s. Both have certainly gone from strength to strength over the past half-century. Surrey last year was named as University of the Year, and of course York only in 2012 joined the ranks of the prestigious Russell Group of top UK universities. I've been very lucky in my career. I've spent my time over the past decade or so dividing my time equally between my efforts to do traditional academic research, teaching. I still run undergraduate admissions in the physics department. That's on the one hand, and the other half of the time I spend it on my public engagement activities in broadcasting, public speaking, writing, and so on. I certainly, as Brian mentioned, followed the traditional academic route early on in my career, focusing on publishing papers, going to the conferences, writing research grant proposals. But I think once I secured a permanent academic position, and to some extent the pressure is then eased, I became a little bit restless. You see, I still enjoyed doing research more than anything else. There's nothing that beats knowing something about the way the world works that no one else knows, however obscure it is, however niche it is. For that time, until you tell your colleagues, until you publish your work, you are the only person who knows this secret about nature. But for me, it was equally important to then want to tell the rest of the world about it. I often thought when I first started in public engagement, I could spend months with my colleagues doing research, writing up a paper that's submitted to a journal that gets peer-reviewed, and then is read by half a dozen people. And yet, in an afternoon, I could write an article for a magazine or newspaper that's read by 500,000 people. I'm not saying one is more important than the other, we need both, but I felt I enjoyed doing both. I've been most gratified to see in recent years that communicating science to the public has become not only a respectable enterprise taken up by many active scientists, but also acknowledged as an important responsibility. Today, I'd argue the UK leads the world by a decade in the public engagement in science, whether it's broadcasting, writing, social media, podcasts, public forums, science festivals, to the extent that I think C.P. Snow's two cultures are closing together now more than they have ever been. Certainly there's a strong case for arguing that science has entered popular culture. Science stories, whether they're discoveries in astronomy or particle physics or genetics, breakthroughs in medicine or innovations in technology, are now part of the general conversation alongside arts, politics and sport. But there's also another more urgent need to communicate. We live in a world facing monumental challenges, whether it's in healthcare, rapid technological advances that we're trying to keep abreast of, or issues to do with the wider environment and climate change, for example. It's clear that scientists can no longer afford to remain quiet when populist movements try to shout down the forces of reason and rationalism with uninformed opinion and an irrational denial of scientific evidence. I believe it's the responsibility and duty of those of us public scientists to not simply pat ourselves on the back for our latest media successes, but to use our public platforms to argue for the importance of rational inquiry and to push back against this insidious spread of congratulatory ignorance, and to fight for evidence-based policies and the importance of scientifically literate population. Days like today are wonderful occasions for everyone. The university staff, the families of the students, and of course, most importantly, the graduands themselves. I know you've all spent the past few years working hard, and you're now ready to head off into the wider world to put that knowledge to work. So today really is a day to cherish and remember. I should add that I'm actually missing my own university's graduation ceremony to be here, but this is a special day for me too, so I wasn't going to miss it for anything. On behalf of all the honorary graduands and the student well, the two of us, and the many more student graduands, I'd like to thank the University of York for this wonderful honour. Thank you very much.
Ladies and gentlemen, Ensemble E Anonymy will perform Danny Boy, arranged by Joshua Medine, followed by It Don't Mean a Thing, arranged by Deek Sharon.
It makes no difference if it's sweet or hard. Just get everything you've got. If it ain't got sweet,
rhythm, got rhythm, got rhythm, got rhythm, rhythm, got rhythm. Swing don't mean a thing. Ain't got swing don't mean a thing. Ain't got swing don't mean a thing. It makes no difference if it's sweet or hard. Just get everything you've got.
As we celebrate the achievements of students, we also want to recognise the staff who have contributed to your success. York has an outstanding record of teaching excellence. What students will remember long after graduation are the individual members of staff and postgraduates who teach, who have supported, challenged, and inspired them. The Vice-Chancellor's Teaching Awards recognise and reward both individuals and teams who have made an outstanding impact on the student learning experience. All holders of these awards have demonstrated excellence in their teaching and the support they give to learning, delivered with energy, care and commitment. A Vice-Chancellor's Teaching Award has been made to Dr. Murray Stark of the Department of Chemistry. And a Vice-Chancellor's Teaching Award has been made to Dr. Phil Hasnep from the Department of Physics.
Chancellor, I have the honour to present the following candidates for the degree of Doctor of Philosophy by publication in Chemistry. For research in leveraging mass spectrometry-based proteomics, Adam Dowell. For the degree of Doctor of Philosophy in Chemistry, for research in self-assembled multivalent nanostructures, Butania Albanyan. For research in probing palladium and iridium catalysis using NMR, Kate Appleby. For research in palladium pre-catalyst design for efficient aryl cyanations, Joshua Bray. For research in the use of biomolecules in renewable surfactants, Rachel Castle. For research in synthesis of azo heterocycles and natural products, Sarah Chambers. For research in copper-catalyzed synthesis of heterocycles, Ryan Gorman. For research in studies of isolated mixed charge complexes, Andrew Harvey. For research in photochemistry of organometallics using NMR, Sarah Louise Henshaw. For research in fate of lipids in archaeological burial soils, Scott Hicks. For research in catalytic dearomatization reactions, Michael James. For research in macroporous FTO electrodes, solar water splitting, Danielle Jowett. For research in lithiation trapping of saturated heterocycles, Alice Kwong. For research in sustainable methods for the synthesis of amides, Lindsay Ledingham. For research in total synthesis of natural products, Nadia Madnazir. For research in imine reductases, structure, function and mechanism, Henry Mann. For research in sustainable solvents for the chemical industry, Giulia Pagiola. For research in analysing decay of materials in burial environments, Adam Pinder. For research in mechanism of palladium catalysis, George Platt. For research in peptide labelling and analysis by mass spectrometry, Helen Robinson. For research in ionic liquid crystal polymers for display devices, Alan Roper. For research in exploring siderophyll antibiotic conjugate design, Thomas Sanderson. For research in platinum-catalyzed decarbonylation of ketones, Julia Sarju. For research in photochemical activation of tetraalkylammonium cations by hexachloroplatinate 4, Imelda Silalahi. For research in cellular glycan profiling by mass spectrometry, Kirsty Skeen. For research in total synthesis and mechanistic studies, Joshua Smith. For research in use of gold nanoparticles in MFCs, Sindhu Suravaram. For research in design and synthesis of three-dimensional fragments, Mary Weldon. For research in low-temperature self-assembled nanomaterials, Nicole Kirsten Whitelaw. For research in design fluorescent purine nucleosides, Kyung Zhu. For the degree of Master of Science by Research in Chemistry, Badria Al-Monteri. Degai-Xing Chan. Hamid Reza Daneshazari. Kiao Chu Du. Evans Dazotzi. Bibi Feng. Peter Hernshaw. Josh Kirsup. Rachel Steen. Harry Toynton. Yuzhong Zhao. For the degree of Master of Chemistry in Chemistry, Benjamin Arnold. Joseph Boronsky. Emily Boole. Gabriel Bramley. Jonathan Churchill. Francis Henry Colum Clark. Thomas Dykes. Christopher Gould. Joseph Granelli. Charlotte Gregson. Fraser Freeman Griffin. Charlotte Haig. Daniel Holbrook. Grace Howarth. Liam Hughes. Scott Jackson. Owen Jarman. Rachel Johnson. Mark Kerridge. Eleanor Lightower. David Loads. Thomas Locke-Fischus. Katie Martinelli. Ellsworth MacLeod. Stephanie Merritt. Bethany Nelson. Lorna Olinik. Anna Patterson. Jia Hui Peng. James Pitts. Jake Pollard. James Pollard. Adam Price. Connor Pryor. George Rogers. Charlotte Ryder Mills. Holly Sales. Jade Sanger. Chris Sheldon. David Stewart. William Swansborough Aston. Sifei Wang. Rachel Ward. Lucy Wheeler. Shona Wild. Joshua Wilkinson. Helen Wilway. Thomas Wood. For the degree of Master of Chemistry in Chemistry with a Year Abroad, Patrick Bowler. Alistair Burt. Chris Cook. Elizabeth Ferber. Scott Grossman. Chloe Harland. Ian Hope. Matthew Oshinowo. Sam Smith. Bethany Stedman. For the degree of Master of Chemistry in Chemistry with the year in Industry, Sandy Armstrong. Lisa Backwell. Rebecca Baker. James Ball. Tanya Bachelier. James Bezic. Stephen Blackburn. Alexandra Bowes. Helen Bristow. Hannah Bulcock. Rachel Carpenter. Natalie Charlesworth. Daniela Cheng. Gabriel Richard Michael Xavier Clark. Alexander Collins. Sinlan Cook. James Crossland. Emily Faulkner. Lauren Finney. James Graves. Luke Green. Alexandra Groves. Laura Hankey. Elliot Harries. Connor Horton Wilkinson. Oliver Hoult. Molly Isaacs. Jessica Lane. Connor Lawson. Jessica Lendeyu. Nancy Mosley. Rebecca Mott. Ryan Palmer. Anil Panchal. Joseph Park. Hannah Pierce. Wendy Robinson. Rihanna Rowland. William Scott. Jenny Smith. Emma Spooner. Alex Stones. Matthew Taylor. Anisha Thakra. Sharon Vafa-Piche. Jemima Wakelin. Hannah Whiteside. Conrad Wilson. For the degree of Master of Chemistry in Chemistry, Biological and Medicinal Chemistry, Joe Joyner. Callum Nichol. Jessica Pound. Jeff Wong. For the degree of Master of Chemistry in Chemistry, Biological and Medicinal Chemistry with a year abroad, Xiao Liu. For the degree of Master of Chemistry in Chemistry, Biological and Medicinal Chemistry with a year in Industry, Hannah Downey. Hannah Felstead. Sarah Gibson. Abby Smith. James Southwell. For the degree of Master of Chemistry in Chemistry Management and Industry with a year in Industry, Samuel Edwards. For the degree of Bachelor of Science in Chemistry, Nurul Amis. Liana Asken. Ellie Bessie. Adam Church. Matthew Jack Fogarty. Stella Foster. Marnie Miller Porter Grant. Yayan Griffiths. Rhiannon Halesworth. Jean-Luc Hammersley. Zachary Henderson. Shireen Kahar. Olivia Weitzer. Polly Lang. Joseph Lloyd. Rebecca Plant. Lucy Richardson. Benjamin Paul Savage. Sam Shield. Ellen Thornton. Richard Waterman. Rebecca Wild. Rebecca Yellow. Yi Yi. For the degree of Bachelor of Science in Chemistry, Biological and Medicinal Chemistry, Alexander Metcalf. Monika Pizioska. For the degree of Bachelor of Science in Chemistry, Management and Industry, Nicole Kelly. Amelia Thurston. Zulfa Zulkifli. Sorry. For the degree of Bachelor of Science in Chemistry, Resources and the Environment, Polly Ann Hanson.
Chancellor, I have the honour to present the following candidates. For the degree of Doctor of Philosophy in Physics, for research in response of microinstabilities to plasma evolution, Arkaprava Bokshi. For research in Bayesian inference in nuclear fusion data analysis, Christopher Bowman. For research in precise tools to study metabolic response in yeast, Eric Headland. For research in simulations of magnetic nanoparticles, James McHugh. For research in isospin symmetry breaking in the F7 halves region, Scott Milne. For research in studying the decays of mass 70 proton-rich nuclei, Laura Sinclair. For research in synthetic aperture imaging of tokamak plasmas, David Thomas. For the degree of Doctor of Philosophy in Plasma Science and Fusion Energy, for research in modelling eruptions and edge stability in tokamaks, Amelia Lunis. For research in magnetic fields in laser plasma interactions, Eleanor Tubman. For the degree of Master in Physics, Toby Bird. David Bland. Matthew Bourne. Leo Brack. Adam Brinded. Jake Calder. James Crosby. Alexander Drayton. Matthew Dunn. Matthew Ellis. Sarah Fitzmaurice. Ewan Fraser. George Hargreaves.
Joseph Henderson. Ryan Kirby. James Kitching. Samuel Locke. James Lolly. Benjamin McInnes. Stephen Mann. Thomas McCann. Abigail Ashley McGee. Lucy Mayer. Benjamin Morris. Peter Naylor. Alice Newitt. Matthew Nichol. Samuel Poyser. Ewan Ranalla. Daniel Sanderson. James Scott. David Sillars. David Winkles. For the degree of Master of Physics in Physics with a year in Europe, Naomi Fuller. Willika Roden. For the degree of Master of Physics in Physics with Astrophysics, Bradley Entwistle. Harry Horseman. Adam Langefeld. James Lees. Benjamin Lombardo. Lewis Mills. For the degree of Master of Physics in Theoretical Physics, Harry Blake. Luke Edward Elliott. Matthew Harris. Jonathan Hunt. Erin James Anderson Long. Samuel Morris. Daniel Pike. Ryan Pound. James Quirk. Matthew Shelley. Oliver Thomas. Michael Tickell. George Watson. Sean Wheeler. Kieran Wilkinson. For the degree of Bachelor of Science in Physics, Liam Ordston. Femi Bankole. Benjamin Bishop. Robert Carpenter. Jack Chapman. Edward Clothier. George Duffert. Damantis Dulius. Rosie Jo Farthing. Rebecca Fry. Charles Green. Joshua Hare. Edward Hicks. Grace Law. Callum Lennox. Sophie Marr. Annabelle Morell. Marcus Alexander Penn. Harry Phillips. Sean Pugh. Connor Redfern. Peter Simpkins. Theo Stanley. Richard Stranks. Siva Kumaran Sukumaran. Lucy Todd. Joel Wagg. For the degree of Bachelor of Science in Physics with a year in Europe, Sean Cannon. Rowan McCain-Bremner. For the degree of Bachelor of Science in Physics with Astrophysics, Jamie Boardman. William Brasovsky. Marcus Cameron. Gregory Chappelle. Evan Dobson. Ryan Guttridge. Tom Lang. Joseph Miller. Anna-Marie Stanley. For the degree of Bachelor of Science in Physics with Philosophy, Heather Bennett. Anna Carolan. Patrick Gray. Harriet Jones. For the degree of Bachelor of Science in Physics with Philosophy with a year in Europe, Daniel Galton. For the degree of Bachelor of Science in Theoretical Physics, Lawrence Edward Bradley. Daniel Hall. James Harding.
Ladies and gentlemen, every time I conduct a ceremony such as this, somebody asks me afterwards, what's it like? What's it like standing up there? And the only answer I can give is I cannot think of a greater honor than being permitted to confer degrees on this class. This class is by far the smartest, most intelligent, best-looking, charismatic, intuitively intellectual since the one we did earlier this morning. But what achievement? You know, I've sat figuratively in just about every seat in the House as an anxious undergraduate, as a postgraduate, as a professor, as a vice-chancellor, but above all, as a parent, you know, sitting there, rather anxious whether your child's going to turn up, and they did, but sitting there bursting with pride at the achievements of our children. And I know that's an emotion that's shared right across the room today. And I can remember every bit of each of those ceremonies except the speech at the end. And I do know, actually, that the sole purpose of the Chancellor's speech at the end is to ensure that none of our graduates go out into the world unless they've been properly sedated. And that's my job. But what a weird world. What a weird world we are inviting our students to go and join. Those of us with memories long enough will recall that so much of the 20th century, certainly the second half of it, was taken up in trying to forge new global alliances that would prevent the outbreak of war for the future. We saw the emergence of alliances across Europe and across the Atlantic. The story is told famously in 1941 of Winston Churchill spending Christmas at the White House with the then very popular American President Franklin Delano Roosevelt. And they had arranged to meet at 10 o'clock in the morning in Churchill's suite. Roosevelt turned up on his own, of course, in a wheelchair, wheeled himself into the room, and there was nobody there. The door opened, and out walked Churchill completely naked, still rosy pink from his bath. Roosevelt, deeply embarrassed, tried to turn his wheelchair around and escape, and there was a loud growling voice which said, "Stay. His Majesty's Prime Minister has nothing to hide from the President of the United States of America." Now, I understand that hasn't been tried since, and certainly not in the last year. But nothing could be more symbolic of the close relationship between our two great nations. So the pleasure that I get today in conferring those degrees upon the students and on sharing with them the anxiety of walking across this platform, sharing with them handshakes that range from the Macron to the Trump, that's Ivanka, in their intensity, and admiring the miracles of modern engineering in the design of the high-heeled shoe. And the sheer nervousness, I know, of some of you of getting from that point to that point without disaster. And it's another reason for which we should congratulate this year's group of graduates that they managed that process so well. So one of the things that I think strikes us about the last half of the 20th century was that so much was done by the reason of the global vision that our leaders adopted. The things that we knew had no borders across the world, the transmission of infectious disease, the environmental damage that we were doing to the planet, terrorism, an era in which non-state actors such as ISIS and Daesh started to have a terrifying impact across the world, and a realization that no nation state on its own had the means to counter this and to protect its citizenry. And from that came a number of global collaborations. If we just think, for example, about Ebola and Zika virus, where it was being confidently forecast that in Liberia, Sierra Leone, in Guinea, there would be millions of deaths of the population. It didn't happen. It didn't happen because science, which knows no boundaries, and disease, which knows no boundaries, collided. And international organizations secured an alleviation of suffering that would otherwise have occurred. Likewise, if we look at the poverty that still exists across this world, but ask ourselves, in the last 50 years in which we've had a commitment to globalization, a moving away from the imposition of tariffs on the trading of goods and services, we've started to see the hundreds of millions of people in India and in China being lifted out of grinding agricultural poverty and being given employment and shining new cities, particularly across China. Indeed, a rate of change that now has brought us to a declaration from the United Nations only 2 years ago that the percentage of the world in poverty is now below 10%. That still, by the way, is hundreds of millions, billions of citizens of this world. But we know that we can counter that only through global action across the world. If you think about what that means in the case of India and China, we are seeing the emergence of an enormous middle class, a middle class with an appetite, not only for being better off financially, but an appetite for education. The growing middle class of India represents a higher education opportunity, potentially of some 20 or 30 million additional people a year. And we educate about 2 million in total in this country, to which we have grown over the last 800 years. So the opportunities for thinking afresh about how we do things have never been greater. But as we come into the 21st century, so we start to see a reversal of some of those truths that we thought guided us in the 20th century. A move towards nationalism, a move towards populism, a move towards insularity, towards inward-lookingness, a sense that America could be great again without being a global collaborator in everything that it does. A mood in international politics that is forced into an extreme position by the feebleness of much of the governance that we presently see. That's the weird world. That's the weird world in which our graduates will be emerging after they have left the University of York. And you know, in that I see nothing but optimism. I see nothing but opportunity. I see nothing but the ability of those who are with us today to help us to fix that world. Today, our graduates in physics and chemistry have cutting-edge knowledge and extraordinary ability to shape the future. So where is the next Elon Musk? Where is the next Steve Jobs? Where are the people who can drive the technologies that can get us out of a rut of international depression and back into international collaboration? They're here. They really are here. And I can tell you one thing, actually. What is it that you've got a one-up on over Bill Gates of Microsoft and over Mark Zuckerberg of Facebook? You've got a degree. They haven't. And look what happened to them. Well, so, and you've got a degree from the University of York. So what great opportunities lie ahead? Well, let me just think about this. Here we are in the north of England, the furnace of the first industrial revolution. This was the area where so much discovery of the steam age started to transform this country. In 1829, Stephenson conducted that first trial of Stephenson's rocket on the Liverpool to Manchester Railway. I have to say that, as always, the parliamentary review of this was way ahead of the rest of the population. There was a parliamentary committee reported to King George IV at about that same time on Messrs. George and Robert Stephenson, engineers, Robert being the son of George. And the parliamentary committee said, the elder gentleman is unlettered, but professes a rude mechanical aptitude. His son received modest education in Newcastle upon Tyne. Their steam engine, now employed to drain the collieries, might carry passengers between London and the Northern Industrial District at speeds up to 30 miles per hour. This is a result of their distempered imagination, probably occasioned by the severe climate and privation experienced in the northern districts, and frequent recourse to spirits or liquors that all too frequently results. Representatives of Her Majesty's Treasury have pointed out to us that mail coaches between London and Manchester, as long as sustained by frequent changes of horse and travelling by turnpike on Mr. McAdam's Petterton services, have now achieved 10 miles an hour. No possible gain in human welfare could result from any attempt to reach a higher velocity. So parliamentary leadership is a vital component of a democratic society. But look how that worked out. By 1835, we had in this country laid 338 miles of railway track, and by 1860, we had laid 10,433 miles of railway track. That revolution not only brought about physical change, but huge social change and mobility of population across the nation. The second industrial revolution was probably that of electricity, Edison's light. The whole revolution that came through the end of the 19th century and into the 20th. The third, undoubtedly, the digital, the dot-com and digital revolution that we're still in the middle of. But what about the fourth? Because the fourth industrial revolution will be the one that shapes all of our lives, and particularly yours. The fourth industrial revolution will undoubtedly include such technologies as robotics. It will include nanotechnology. Delighted that some of our PhD graduates today have interest in that field. Quantum computing, biotechnologies, genomics, in which England is now the leading nation in the world and driving forward a clinical genomic revolution, and artificial intelligence. It's often said of artificial intelligence, by the way, which is the way in which computers learn for themselves rather than being programmed by a human being, that two things. One, that artificial intelligence will take over the world, which is not something, I think, of immediate concern, but actually is a serious philosophical issue. But that secondly, it'll take out employment. Estimates range from 7% to 47%, and it's not the employment of running roadside inns and hostelries, which Stevenson's invention drove out. And it's not the blue-collar employment, it's the white-collar employment. Accounting and auditing can quite easily now be automated and driven through artificial intelligence, and indeed many of the professions will face this. So what is it that we need to think about artificial intelligence in thinking about the future of our graduates? It must be along the following lines. The definition of the job that will be taken out by AI is the job that you can define. If you can't define the job, then AI can't do it. So creativity and innovation and energy and drive are the keys to what we can do in the future. And think about those opportunities around climate change. On the one side, as Jim Khalili has mentioned, there are the science deniers. There are those who would dispute that there was a global climate change attributable to anything other than natural causes. And also on that side are those who would say the economics of challenging global climate change are such as to drive down economies rather than to create growth. Wrong and wrong. Here is a remarkable opportunity for using the science and the technology that comes out of world-class universities such as this to create a future that is around renewable energies. In the last 4 years, the United States has spent $240 billion countering the ill effects of extreme weather events. How about some proportion of that going into thinking forward about abating those weather effects before they occur and bringing global climate change within control of our future generations? We know that there is a revolution afoot. We know that electric vehicles will shortly and quite quickly start to overtake the internal combustion engine. Indeed, Volvo has already set out its ambition to do that. A short step to autonomous vehicles. A short step away from vehicles being owned by individuals into vehicles being run as a club, or rather like an Uber model of personal mobility. But the concentration has to be, I think, twofold. One, of driving an economy that can bring about this change worldwide, just as Stephenson's rocket did. And secondly, to ensure that at the same time we reduce the impact of air pollution and of global climate change by adopting different energy models. Do you know, we can do that. We can absolutely do it with talented individuals working in a complex world. But it's not just a matter of how we pursue the fortunes that can be made in this area by qualified chemists and physicists and others. It's also, as graduates of a great university, how we consider the impact on human beings collectively. Another point that Dr. Al-Khalili made in his oration. The Grenfell Tower episode, I suspect, will over the decades resonate with us as a turning point in thinking about how societies express greater solidarity, a greater understanding of the gap between rich and poor and the conditions in which personal fortunes are made at the expense of others. And one of the great aspects of a university like this is its ability across all disciplines to think in all ways as to how we manage the future that is well within our grasp. There is a poem from 400 years ago which I think so eloquently captures that today as it did then. John Donne. He wrote, "No man is an island entire of itself. Every man is a piece of the continent, a part of the main. If a clod be washed away by the sea, Europe is the less, as well as if a promontory were, as well as if a manor of thy friends or thine own were. Any man's death diminishes me, because I am involved in mankind. And therefore, never send to know for whom the bell tolls. It tolls for thee." Eloquent expression of the interdependence of humanity, for which globally visual, globally committed universities have a major commitment. So today, as our students go out into a world which looks to us obscure and confusing and indeterminate and enfeebled, actually think of it this way. There has never been a better time for graduates to bring about the future, to own the future, to correct some of our mistakes, and to lead the world in difficult times. It is a staging time, which brings to my memory the occasion at a graduation ceremony where one of the graduands had, shall we say, pre-celebrated. And this was difficult. He came up on a podium such as this and started to jump up and down and bounce his way towards the Chancellor. And everything was going all right until there was a loud splintering sound, and he disappeared. completely disappeared from sight. The room was completely hushed, broken only by his mother saying, "Oh, ignore him, it's just the stage he's going through." So this is the stage you're going through, with better effect and with all of our congratulations and best wishes. I would like to close by offering thanks. First to everybody who has come here, friends, families, supporters, who have come not just from across the ancient county of Yorkshire, but from across the UK, from across Europe, and indeed from across the globe. Globalism and a global vision is reflected so well in the audience here today. I know that our graduates hugely appreciate your presence. Thank you for joining us this morning. Secondly, oh yes, please, you do get a round of applause. Secondly, can I just say thanks to that small choir, Honorary, who came in and entertained us before. I mean, that to me is also part of what a university is. It's a congregation of all the talent, so I think we should give them a round of applause as well. And it wouldn't be complete without my thanking all of those who have organised today's ceremony, but actually broadening that out to all of our staff at the University of York. those who are from the academic community who are represented here today, and the many thousands who are across the campus. They have made it possible for all of us to be here. And I know from those awards of the Vice-Chancellor to members of staff for teaching excellence just how highly their efforts are valued. So please, will you join me, graduates, in thanking those who have done the education, the teaching, the supervision. Ladies and gentlemen, I declare this congregation closed. Please will you be upstanding and join me in a round of applause for our graduates.